Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. You join me on what is a rather cold day. The temperature is actually -2 degrees and I'm currently inside the Fiat 500e sat at a charging port, an Instavolt charging port, which you can probably see one over there. And yes, it's -2 degrees and I've got my hot chocolate because one of the reasons why I like this charging port is there's a Dunkin' Donuts right across from it, and in the last month I've spent a lot of time in that Dunkin' Donuts whilst I've been waiting for the car to charge. But if you're not aware, I was given this car, the Fiat 500e, by Onto, the electric vehicle subscription service, for a month to try out their service and to try out the car. Now, if you're wondering what is Onto, what is electric vehicle subscription, you can check out my other video. There should be a pop-out banner that's coming shortly. You can click that video and find out more about Onto. But in this video I'm going to describe, or try to describe, exactly what it feels like to live with or own a Fiat 500e. So we'll start with the way that it drives, because if you've been watching my channel, if you've been watching my videos before, you know that I put a lot of focus on exactly how a car feels to drive, the sensations that you will feel whilst you are driving the car. So with the Fiat 500e, this car, I mean, it's a fun, stylish, agile, little nippy electric city car, but what does it feel like to drive? Well, the driving position is actually really comfortable. It's a little bit more upright than you would imagine, but of course everything has to be packaged into this really small wheelbase. So I think Fiat have done a really good job of doing that. When it comes to driving, it is such a fun, addictive car to drive. Obviously with the electric drivetrain, it can accelerate so fast, it's unbelievable. And maybe it feels faster because it's electric and there's no vibration and there's no noise, but especially when you are sat at a set of traffic lights next to a larger German saloon or coupe car, and you put your foot down and then you look in your mirror and you can see the driver a bit shocked as to, oh, this is just a Fiat 500, but it's set off so fast. This car does 0 to 30 miles an hour in just 3 seconds, and it really does feel fast in a car of this size. So it's great to accelerate. It's got all the punchy performance you need to drive around the city, and comfort wise it is rather comfortable. I actually thought it was slightly on the firmer side, but I suppose that gives the car a bit more of a sporty feel. Maybe it's because when I'm going over bumps you can feel the shorter wheelbase, and of course that makes the car a bit more uncomfortable over bumps. But of course, if you're a passenger in this car, I'm sure you will definitely feel a little bit more uncomfortable when the car accelerates and when the car brakes, and of course when you turn in the corners. The steering wheel, how do I describe the steering wheel? Once you manage to put some lock into it, it just wants to turn. But at the second you start to bring the steering wheel back straight, it just wants to stay straight. It's I don't know, it adds to the agility of the car. You can go around corners so fast in this car, and again, that's great for city driving. The interior of the car is actually, I mean, there's a fair bit of plastics everywhere, but everything is where you want it to be. There's these buttons for the climate control, which are so easy to use. There's, in the center console, you've got the buttons to change the mode, the driving mode, or you've got the buttons to change the volume, the audio control. But you also have the buttons behind the steering wheel, almost like where you would have the flappy paddles. And in fact, I actually use those more to change the audio, the volume, rather than the settings in the center console. There's plenty of storage around, and in fact I'm actually quite surprised as to how well the Fiat 500 does compared to its competitors, particularly with the boot. The boot is, I mean, when you open it, it doesn't look that large, but you can fit quite a fair bit of stuff in there. I've managed to fit a fair bit of luggage in there. It has a larger boot than the Honda E, and you know, you have so much room in the back. I mean, again, it doesn't look like there's a lot of room in the back, but I've managed to get some pretty big people in the back of this car. If my relatives are watching, I managed to get them into the back of the car, and they are like 6'5". So yeah, I mean, I don't know about long journeys. I have had passengers in the back of this car for long journeys as well. So it's got everything you need. And of course, with this being a car that's been given to me by Onto, I've not had to worry about paying for charging. I've not had to worry about any costs, to be honest. When it comes to servicing, MOT, all of that, Onto paid for it all. But when it comes to you know, maintenance of the vehicle, so far since I've had it a month, I've not had any problems whatsoever with the car, none at all. The only expenditure that I've had to make with the car is charging, and of course that comes all with Onto as well. So when it comes to charging, now over the course of this month, I've been driving this car for roughly around 3 weeks, and I've driven the car around, we'll say 750 miles. And during that time, there's been a mixture of motorway and city driving, and I probably charged the car. I've only charged the car using a rapid charger, so I've not charged the car at home, which obviously would be a lot cheaper. I've only charged the car using a rapid charger, and it's probably cost in the region of around, I don't know, 250 to 300 pound. That's just me mentally adding up all the costs of when I've gone to an InstaVault charger. Now, when I've charged the car from zero to, well, near enough zero to full charge, it's taken anywhere between 2 and 3 hours. So most of the time I'll just come and I'll sit and I'll charge the car, and then I'll go away and then I'll come back. Sometimes I will leave the car here, go away, maybe go into Dunkin's and have a hot chocolate and then come back. And between 2 to 3 hours this car can go to full charge. And to give you context as to how much range that is, the car has roughly around 150-160 miles of range. That's what it states when you have the car in 100% charge. But in the real world, I've been driving this, like I say, in a mixture of motorway and city driving, and I can get around 100 to 120 miles of range. Now, I will point out that some of that driving has been motorway driving, and unlike in an internal combustion engine car where you can just keep it cruising along the motorway and you get better fuel efficiency, in an electric car you're probably better off driving around the city to get more range, because when it's at it doesn't have gears to negate the effect of fuel being used more. So it's gonna, the faster you drive it, the more electricity, the more charge it's going to take up. So when I found a significant difference of me sitting at 70 miles an hour than when I was driving at 50 miles an hour. So there is a huge difference. You can easily start to eat away at your range when you're driving at a higher speed. But around the city, I'm sure you can get, you can charge this possibly once in a week, and it'll last you the whole week. So, you know, in the real world, the range that this car gives you does actually work. And of course, it has more range than some of its competitors, like the Honda E. It really does go toe to toe with some of its competitors. It is definitely a car to consider if you are looking to buy within this small hatchback city market. Now, I want to also talk about how the car looks as well, because I've often thought of the Fiat 500 as a bit of a feminine car, but seeing it in person, especially in this colour, and seeing the way that it drives as well, I definitely don't feel that anymore. It just looks so cool. It's so stylish, especially that Italian styling, minimalist design. And the performance is definitely something which can leave jaws on the floor. So it is a very fun little car, and I'm gonna miss it. I want to thank Onto for letting me drive this car for a month. And if you're thinking about buying or owning a Fiat 500e, I would say go out and try one. Trust me, it's a great experience. And if you don't want to go ahead and buy one, go and check out Onto. You can use their monthly subscription service, long-term subscription, to own this car and get all the benefits of charging and servicing with it as well. So there's a lot of cost benefits too. So like I said, this video isn't sponsored by Onto, but I just want to mention that because the service has been really great and the experience has been good. And tomorrow I'm going to be giving this car back. So on to the next adventure. If you enjoy the content, if you want some more advice like this when it comes to buying cars, please subscribe to my channel. drop a like. Let me know what you think about this car in the comments, and obviously, of course, also with the hot chocolate for Dunkins, let me know what you think about hot chocolates. Do you prefer Dunkins, Cafe Nero? Do you prefer Starbucks? Let me know. Even though this is a car channel, all conversation is welcome. And also follow me on Instagram as well. If you haven't already been following me and following my adventures of the Fiat 500e on Instagram, make sure to follow me, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care.